Wagwan, my people. So today let's talk about shoulder. I'm gonna give you my top 4 best exercises for size if you want to develop huge shoulders, and my bottom 4 exercises for shoulders. Yes, so pay close attention, and without any further ado, let me just dive onto my top 4s. Number 1 is overhead press seated, back supported. Any back supported overhead press. You could be using barbell, you could be using a machine, you could be using dumbbells, you could be using Smith machine. As long as your back is like this and you're pressing it over your head, that one is good. Number 2, lateral raises using a dumbbell or cable machine. It doesn't matter. As long as you're taking away your arms away from your body, or rather we call it abducting, then you're good to go. It's good for your lateral side of your delt. Number 3, rear delts using neck deck or spreading out your arms like this. You see, as long as you have a wider range of motion when you are doing rear delts, then I'll believe you'll be good to go. You'll develop huge, strong rear delts. Number 4 is traveling around the world. Traveling around the world is one of the most underrated shoulder exercises that targets your traps. I'll say people hardly do it, or rather people don't know about it, but I normally do it every once in a week if I wanna develop my huge traps and also some bit of my rear delts. Actually, those are my top 4 shoulder builders if you wanna develop size, not strength. Now, there's a bit of caveat here and there about the barbell. I always say when you're using barbell, think about strength, and if you want to develop good aesthetics, you must have some certain amount of strength in you so that you can push to your level best. As much as we know barbell is good for size, for strength, it's always good to incorporate it in your hypertrophy work, because you need strength if you want to build size. Anytime you're seeing me pointing out these exercises that are my bottom 3 or bottom 4 or whichever, some of them, they are good in terms of strength. It's always good to merge the two, strength and size, if you wanna have that top-notch aesthetics. Now let me just dive onto my bottom 4 exercises that people think are good for your shoulders, but no, they're not bad. If you talk about efficacy, they're like 5 over 10, but I'd rather pay attention on this, top 4 instead of these bottom 4s. It's not like I barely do bottom 4s, I do them, but if I'm targeting something else, or rather if I've been too monotonous on these other ones. They're not bad at all, so don't get me wrong, they're just not that effective if you want to develop massive shoulders. So my first one is front raises. Using barbell, dumbbell, machine, doesn't matter. As long as you're doing this, it's kind of bullshit, because whenever you're doing bench press on an incline bench, chances are you're also affecting the frontal part of your deltoid. If you're doing overhead, you're still affecting this part of your deltoid. Deltoid is one of the most overused muscles when you're doing upper body, especially when you're doing push exercises, because that exercise, some of them must pass through your frontal delt for them to be executed. Just like core and glutes. Those are some of the most used muscles when you're just doing your normal shit in the gym. Number 2 is face pulls using that car rope. You know why? Because it's giving you a limited range of motion. I told you, anytime you're exercising for size, it's always good to look for something that gives you a wider range of motion. If I was to target my rear delt, I'll use something that gives me an extra range of motions, like a pec deck machine, or I use that duo back machine seated row. Just do this. Anything that will give me an extra range of motion, I'll go for that, as opposed to face pull. If I'm doing face pull, I use duo cables, like two ropes. I attach them on the bar and I pull them towards my face. Shrugs, not very bad, but execution of the majority is so poor. It's a good exercise for your traps if only you know how to execute on it. Most people, they just do this, they even don't know what they're doing. And if you wanna execute better on your shrugs, you have to lean forward a little bit, and it will be even better if you use the dumbbells, and underline the word dumbbell instead of barbell, because the dumbbell will give you that freedom of bending, twisting your arms, whichever position that you prefer. And I barely do shrugs, man. I barely, because if you're doing deadlift, you'll definitely get huge traps. If you're doing Romanian deadlifts. If you're doing any form of farmer's carry, things like those ones, yani developing traps would be so easy. But shrugs using a barbell, for the gram, bro, for the gram. Military press, standing military, military press means you're on your feet and then you're pressing over your head. Not very good. It's for size, for strength, sorry, not size, for strength. If you're focusing on strength, it is a good exercise for that. Listen, I'm not saying these exercises are bad, but if you're targeting size, well, I'll say machines, they will always overcome these compound lifts. By the way, size, machines and dumbbells, we cannot even debate on that one. Strength, barbell in, barbell out if you want strength. If you want size, cable, machines and dumbbells. I hope this makes sense, and if it does, do the necessaries. Till next time, peace out.